Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Niki. Niki, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. Your dog's staring at me right now. I can see him back there.
I'm just now realizing that. So I moved my home office slash podcast studio, whatever you want to call this, into the spare bedroom, from one spare bedroom into another. And I'm just this week realizing that we only use this spare bed to store dirty laundry. And the background of all of our most recent podcasts are just my crap all over this bed. My dog's on the floor. There's plastic bags and shopping bags from TJ Maxx in the background. I'm not this messy. If you watch this on YouTube, it's just, this is the dump room.
Right.
You know?
That's the story we'll go with.
Totally
That's why I try to keep just a wall behind me because it's
smart.
Yes. It's definitely smart the way I live.
But no, I'm good. I am glad you're back. It was weird not having you around for a couple days. Of course, when you weren't, when you were at the competition, I kept being oh, I should see if John wants to record on, or maybe he wants to do the.
And I wish I could have. The cell service in Michigan is really sketchy. At least we were in it's kind of like in Kalamazoo. Which for anyone who's ever been to Kalamazoo, don't. No, I'm kidding. It was fine.
Don't.
It looks just like Ohio. It's all cornfields, so you got to keep in mind it's a really rural area. It's all farmland. So the cell service was really kind of hit or miss. Anytime we'd go inside, I had no service. When we're outside, I had mostly service. So it was, so I really probably couldn't have podcasted anyway. And when we were trying to do a little update show there, Brandon, the head of media, was driving. He went over to the parking lot of McDonald's and used their Wi-Fi to upload our video because
my God,
it was great. Yeah,
that's janky, but he made it work.
He did.
He made it work.
2 a.m, he got it to work. Go to McDonald's, but whatever it takes,
Well, but how was it? Had the Elite Teen Throwdown? I mean, we had them on the show. We had the Pit Fitness folks on the show to talk about planning the event, and they had just so much heart and soul for these kids that have been working so hard and then had, their shot to be at games, unfortunately thwarted by 2020 and COVID right. And all that stuff. So how was getting out there and watching them throw down for real?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, I've been to a lot of events. I'm sure most of you guys have, and every gym thinks they can put on a competition.
Totally.
And so I went in thinking, all right, this is some gym in small town Michigan, which is no different than small town Ohio. It'll be fun, but it'll be decidedly average. Man, yeah. I was so wrong. It was just like being at the games. It was they did such an amazing job from end to end. So first of all, they did a killer job getting sponsors. So that's where it looked like the games was. Every kid had their own placemat, just like the games would have. So anytime there was an event kicking off, their placemat was there, right? And it was brought to you by Fit Aid. So there's a big Fit Aid logo on it, which was really cool. Reebok had shoes.
Love our friends at Fit Aid.
Yeah, love our friends at Fit Aid. Reebok did all the shoes. So every kid there had a new pair of shoes on. So they all looked alike. Chesty did the shorts. So you had, these crazy, if you guys have ever seen the shorts by Chesty, they're really, kind of crazy. By the way, this is not an ad. For the record,
no,
none
zero.
Of these companies,
if any of these brands want to pay us, you're more than welcome to. But
feel free to send a check. But the Chesty shorts were on all the kids. They all had their game shirts. They had multiple shirts for events where they had their name right on the front. Which was cool. Great for me because I'm so old I can't remember anybody's name. So being able to see their names was great.
Nice and big. They put the big print on there for you.
Yeah. So from that aspect. It all looked like athletes, and then the facility was unfreaking real.
Really
brand spanking new. The inside part was literally brand new. They had this huge platform built for the lifting. Half of the gym was AstroTurf. The other half was, our normal rubber floors with this amazing Rogue rack with ropes built in and rings, and it's really killer. And they had an upstairs balcony to overlook it, so you could see everything.
Cool, like a mezzanine kind of thing.
Then they had an outside area that was like a pit quarry that they used for sled pulls and a deadlift ladder. And then they had a separate building that's like a yoga building, but they're using it as an athlete area. And they had all the same equipment in that building for kids to get warmed up on and to stretch and do mobility and and whatever. It's like a kind of a backstage staging area.
Yeah.
They had a lake with a track around it. So they, that they were able to use during the event. So, from a facility standpoint, it was amazing. And then the programming was really, really stellar. Like no different than what you would see in the games. Like they opened with a try, which was, yeah. So these kids started with a swim. It was, it was only 250 meters, but it was cold. Like,
oh yeah.
And I'll give them credit. Like they made it really interesting. It wasn't as easy as saying, okay, you're going to start with the swim and then run. What they said was, you're going to start with the swim. It's 250 meters. It's going to start between 6 and 6:30. You won't know when. And so you got to line up and you're standing there. And when the horn blows, you got to go. And you don't know when the horn's blowing.
Oh my.
It was cool. And
mentally, like you're already like shook.
Yeah. Well, so keep in mind, these kids, like I got there in time for the boys. The girls had like just kind of wrapped up when we got there. So, the boys are standing out there and they're all in swim trunks, and they're like Speedo swim trunks, like the long legged ones that you
like jammers.
Yeah. Like jammers and, and no shirts, and they're freezing their butts off. Like,
God.
It was like, 50 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just standing around for 10 minutes or so, just waiting. And then, the horn blows and they go running in and then they have to run. I think they ran 3 miles after the swim. And then they got a really short rest. And then they did a deadlift ladder. And it was cool, like really, really cool. And so it was awesome. A combination of like those types of events. There was a strongman event that had heavy sled pulls, went into a 200-meter farmer carry around the lake. When they got to the lake, they did a paddleboard out to a buoy and back. And then another farmer's carry. And by the way, that farmer's carry was crippling these poor kids.
Oh my God.
It's not a movement we work on a lot in CrossFit. And man, it was putting these kids to the test. And then it ended with another heavy sled pull. It was really fun to watch.
It was Jacob Hepner that did the programming, wasn't it?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I think it was.
I didn't even ask. I didn't ask. And then, the other events were a really, really good combination of CrossFit, and they started hard. So after they finished that deadlift ladder, the next event was rowing into handstand walks. Ugh. And, so you got these kids that, like immediately being tested, so big credit. They tested every major movement over the course of the weekend. I saw these kids do bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups, handstand walks, rope climbs, like you name the complex movement, they did it. They did in-wides, they did snatches, they did a deadlift ladder, they did tested a 1 rep max for a clean and jerk, and then immediately tested a 1 rep max for their snatch. It was, it was cool. It was very cool. And then at the end, they actually changed the very last workout because it was going to rain. They had a big event planned outside, and a thunderstorm came up. So best time, let's pull out the Echo bikes.
There you go.
They put them on Echo bikes and made them do devil's press and front squats with dumbbells and just wrecked these poor kids. And to their credit, these kids are like watching. If you could imagine Tia Toomey and Sarah Sigma's daughter corralled up next to each other, ready to start, but they're 16. That's what it's like. Like that's the look on their faces. Like these kids, like when they get ready to go, man, they are ready to go and they battle. And it was really cool to watch. Like now, granted, I haven't seen competitive sports in any capacity now. And,
right. We're hungry for it.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, man, like it was really inspiring watching them. Like not only were they super competitive, but then they would stay out on the floor and cheer each other.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if they were winning or losing. As a matter of fact, there was this one kid, we watched him all weekend, and truthfully, he didn't qualify. He got invited. And he, for being honest, he was outclassed by all stretch of the imagination. He couldn't do a lot of the complex movements. And we got to one of the last WODs, and like all the other kids, super kids, but he gets to the last WOD and he's kind of last moving to the wall, and he's got to do handstand push-ups, and he can't do them. He literally flips over and just crumples, and he tries again and he crumples. And
relatable.
Yeah. And there's in this workout, it was like a 10-minute time cap, and he's only a minute in. So now he's like, he has a choice. You can stand there on the wall and feel sorry for yourself, or you do something about it. And he did something about it. He literally walked down the aisle and cheered every kid one at a time. It was
Very
really
cool.
cool. It was very, very
Very
cool.
cool.
And, you know, we saw examples of that all weekend long of, you know, of kids, you know, not only cheering each other, but just doing amazing feats of strength and agility. And I mean, you know, I'm humbled because I'm apparently weaker than every 16-year-old girl on the planet. And
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of 16-year-old girls. Like, these girls are superheroes. But it was fun. It was very, very cool.
I think it's really cool to see, and I feel like you and I have actually had this conversation a few times recently, and it really makes me feel old. But I think it's really cool to see that the kids that are coming of age in CrossFit right now are not only like so incredibly talented and strong and, you know, have this body awareness that is like none other, but that they're also like legitimately good kids. And I mean, like, they have a work ethic and they have a dedication to the sport and they have a sportsmanship and camaraderie that's come out of this kind of training that translates into being good people. And like, sorry, but your average like 14 to 16-year-old kid like sucks right now. Like
Yeah.
in this day and age, like the entitledness and the weirdness and the gold stars and the snowflake, whatever you want to call it, like it's just there have been better eras. and like these kids are such a good showing of kids that are doing things right and parents that are doing things right and families that are doing things right. And it's really, really cool to see what good souls are coming up through this sport. I'm happy to be a part of this.
Well, it was fun to see the engagement by the parents too. So it was an event that was closed to the general public. I probably maybe should have led with that because I got a lot of hate messages for some of the photos I posted. So every
Really?
kid that came, yeah, because, you know, social distancing and whatever.
Well, right.
So, you know, the kids came in, they got tested as soon as they came in. And they were, monitored every single day, temperature taken, you know, check vitals, all that stuff to, you know, to make sure they were healthy. They
Yeah.
only allowed in parents and coaches and media. That was it. So there were only 150 of us on site at any given time. And then when we're indoors, everyone's required to wear a mask, and they were hardcore about that, like hardcore. And I hate wearing that thing like most everybody else. So it was all sweaty inside, but you had to.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone but the athletes. So they did a really good job of doing that, but the parents were super engaged with it. You could just see it all weekend long, like parents right there for their kids, coaches like treating these kids like their own children, you know, which was very fun to see. And to your point, like no one seemed to have any kind of sense of entitlement, even though, you know, there were a few athletes there that were, all these kids were super talented, but there were a few that you could just tell are head and shoulders above everybody else, particularly those that won, you know,
Totally.
like the young man who won, he's been to the game several times. He snatched like 276 or something like that. Yeah. And it wasn't even his max, like, you know, just super strong kid, nicest kid you'd ever see, like humble, you know, really no ego, just, you know, out there cheering for everybody else, just a great competitor, you know, and his family's there. Yeah. And his family's out there cheering him on and cheering all the other kids on, you know, it was really, really, really cool to see.
If I could snatch 275, I would be such an asshole.
Me too.
Like I totally would. I would not be humble at all. I'd be like, did you see that shit? Did you see that?
It is interesting, like the expectations. Like I watched a girl miss a clean and jerk, I think at 220, and came off and she had just hit 210 maybe, and came off the podium pissed off because it wasn't her 1 rep max. Like she felt like she should have gotten more. And, you know, so it's funny, like anytime I'm above 200, I'm just like doing backflips and like her expectations higher. So it's fun to see that, you know, they're already understanding, you know, how to drive themselves to that point. And, you know, saw a couple of 16-year-old girls clean and jerk 220, which is scary in person, man. Like these girls weigh 130 pounds or 5'4". You know, they're just these tiny little, they're like the size of my daughters, you know, and they're just lifting huge weight and so fast under the bar. It's like, oh, I'm just so jealous of all of them.
So cool. I'm so impressed that this whole thing went down because we were on the original planning call when it was just the Price family, right? Azariah and his mom and their coaches at the Pit Fitness Ranch who knew that they had the space. And like literally these people just DM'd a whole bunch of teen athletes because they all know each other and they've all competed together and they've all gone to games together and whatever. And they were like, hey, do you guys want to all hop on a Zoom call? And like kids were on the call and their parents were on the call. And they were like, hey, like we have space. We think we can really do this. And I feel like at the time I was like, I'm totally down, but I don't know how this is going to go.
Right.
And God, they kept pushing. Every week they were more updates and they were looking for more sponsors and they were getting more people involved and really blowing this thing out into what it ended up becoming. And I am so impressed because it took a lot of work, and hats off to them, to all of them who organized it and made it happen for these kids, because that is a full-time, any sanctional owner will tell you, that is a full-time job. And all these people were like making it hyper professional, but also like making it a family. It was this big event, but they were also like, who wants to stay with me in my house? And like, here's a homemade turkey sandwich for the day. Like, you know what I mean? It was such a cool combo of that.
Yeah, and they left nothing to chance. Like they brought in a professional media team, myself excluded. They had like a real life photographer that, and videographers that filmed the entire weekend. They're putting a documentary together for these kids. They're never going to forget. Like every lift that these kids made, every WOD they were in, photos were taken, and it's all free to the athletes.
So cool.
Which is incredible. I mean, you think of like all the events you've taken your kids to over the year, and every photographer that comes in goes, yeah, I'll show you photos of the soccer game for $5 a shot, and Brandon, the photographer, is just out there giving away for free, to these kids. And it's like really spectacular to see. So they, just nothing left to chance.
Yeah.
End to end. Also, just on a like purely selfish point, the coolest part of the weekend for me was I'd taken all kind of swag with me. I had all these extra patches and stuff and t-shirts and whatever. And so I'm like, I'll never wear all these tees. I'll just hand some out.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there talking to a couple of the kids, and I think these boys were in the 17-year-old division, 16 to 17. And one of them had come over to show me a fail video. It's like, I think this would be funny for your page, I'm like, hey, you guys want a t-shirt? And they're like, yeah, of course. So I hand them both the t-shirt, and it's only 16 and 17-year-old boys can do. They literally ripped their shirts off right there and put my shirts on and then competed in them.
Oh, I love that.
One of them actually messaged me today and said, my favorite part of the weekend was competing in your shirt. I'm like, my God, I swear to God. I'm like,
my heart.
I know. It makes me so happy. It was great. And I got so I'm so mean. I am so mean sometimes. So he wore it in the lift. He did great. He wore it in the lift off and PR'd his lift. And then in the very next WOD, it had rope climbs at the end. And he got to the last rope climb and lost his grip. And it took him like a minute and a half to get it done. It cost him a minute and a half in the WOD, and he dropped way down the leaderboard. And I shot him a message. I'm like, hey, dude, I forgot to tell you that shirt's great for lifts, not so much for rope climbs.
Ooh, sorry. I should have told you. I bet he got a good laugh out of that.
He did. Though. He laughed. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I should have asked. That was my bad.
Damn it.
I know. But yeah, that part was really, really cool. And I'm convinced I saw, at least 2 or 3 future superstars.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Y'all just wait. It's crazy the level of competitive CrossFit that exists within our little like microcosm of a world right now, let alone the kids who have been doing this since they could walk. Like we're OG. What year did you start CrossFit?
2011.
Right. And I started it same year, 2011. Yeah. So like we're considered like OG, right? Air quotes. These kids who have been doing this their whole lives are going to create the next generation of CrossFit superhumans. We don't even understand what they're capable of.
Yeah, those kids were 5 when we started. I should tell our listeners right now that don't watch this on YouTube, Niki is not heavy breathing into the microphone.
Oh my God, can you hear them?
Both of her dogs are in the room right now, and they're totally adorable.
Listen.
Wait,
Ricky, come here. Oh, now he won't do it. Now it sounds like it's been me.
Yeah, it's Niki. She's just heavy breathing into the microphone.
Oh, good. My husband just came in to take them out. They've been heavy breathing into the microphone. It's awkward. It's very awkward.
It wouldn't be. It's not anything new to anybody who listens to the show, for sure. But yeah, so big recommend. If anyone, I'm hopeful that they put this on again next year. If they do, I'm going to force us to take the podcast and actually cover it like a real event. But big recommend. Anybody gets a chance to watch the teens in any capacity. you will not be disappointed. It's every bit as competitive as any games competition I've been to. And actually, in a lot of ways, it's better, truthfully.
Really?
Yeah, they have more fun. I mean,
Yeah.
even when they lose, like these kids can put a loss behind them immediately.
Yeah.
There's like they don't do any pouting, like event's over. Okay, let's start goofing off again. And next thing you know, they're just like, they're being kids. They're doing goofy handshakes and jokes and just, we said it all weekend long, like you'd see them and they look like adults
Yeah.
because they're big kids and the
They're
girls are actually,
strong.
and the girls are actually more mature than the boys as usual. Right. And
Yeah.
you
That's
like,
for life.
yeah, yeah, even right now. And you talk to them and, so you look at them and go, man, like the girl looks like she's 25. And then you go talk to her and you're like, yep, she's 16,
Yep.
like they're still kids,
Yeah.
but so much fun, just so much fun.
I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
Speaking of competitive CrossFit,
Yes.
we are like just a friggin' couple days away from what actually will be the 2020 CrossFit Games. Holy
I can't
moly.
wait. Cannot
I can't
wait.
believe it.
I know.
I can't believe it. And like phase 1 begins online, right? So there's two days of competition where athletes from all over the world are competing in their own gyms, doing their own things, submitting their scores online. And then that'll whittle down to the top 5 male and female athletes that will converge back in Aromas for the finals, eventually a few weeks down the road into October. But this first phase kicking off to me is like this epic milestone. And I never really knew whether or not we were going to get here because 2020 is batshit crazy. And like,
Word.
I just wasn't convinced it was going to happen. And like you said, like we've been starved from competitive sports for so long and fast fitness is my favorite sport. So I'm just super stoked that it's actually happening.
Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, so you're going to cover, which is good. So you get to go do it. So I will be left not alone though. We're going to bring on Steph Chung, CrossFit Games athlete, to sub.
Unbelievable.
I know it's going to be great. I told her today, she messaged me. She goes, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm like, we're going to make the hashtag Niki Who trend. This is going to be great.
I hope you do. I hope you freaking do. When I told Matt, because Steph and I are very close friends and me and my husband, Matt, and Steph and her husband, Rob, are all like really tight. So I told Matt that Steph was going to step in for me and I was so excited. And he was like, oh, she can't be too good.
It should be great. I think
I'm like, she's going to be incredible. Yeah, it'll be like really cool perspective to have obviously someone who's like fun and talented, and funny, and just like a great host, but also someone who can speak to being a games athlete and training during COVID and doing online qualifiers versus being in person, all that stuff. Like she'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be good. So we're going to try to do, try to do an update every day. So when it's over,
Nice.
we'll update, let, Steph, do her thing, talk about what the games are like. I'll make my rude comments and a couple of short jokes and it'll be good.
Perfect. That sounds like the formula for our show.
Yeah. And then you'll be out there with I saw Woodlands doing this with you, right?
Yeah.
You and Sean?
So Sean and I are we're gonna cover it as it's happening, which is gonna be really cool. It's been a minute since I've been able to be at any sort of like CrossFit event doing my thing. So I'm really looking forward to being back in the chair, so to speak.
Did it occur to you that we have half of Talking Elite Fitness and half of Make Pods Great Again together? I should call Tommy. I should have done something with him just to
oh my
thumb our
God,
nose
you
at you
should
guys.
have. Oh my God, that's so funny. Do you remember when we were like trying to come up with our first merch and we were gonna do bestie of the show?
Yes.
T-shirts? Now would be the perfect time.
We should just have one made for you and you can just wear it with Sean and see if he says anything.
Just see if he notices. I'll just make one for him. I'll make him a women's crop tank.
Yeah, no one needs to see that. No one. I would love to see Woodland in a crop tank. That would be awesome.
Who wouldn't? Truly.
I know. Well,
I'm just trading
his wife probably, but everyone else
yeah. I was just gonna trade the one bald co-host for the other.
I know.
Like
well, you upgraded. There's no doubt about
No, I disagree.
it. Yeah.
No.
All right,
So,
let's talk games.
I was gonna say, like, so the field is deep, as it always is, but this year specifically because we obviously had this like shortened, condensed road to the games. So fewer athletes, really, really freaking good athletes, and a bizarre layout like a bizarre season layout that we've never seen before. We've never had this type of an online qualification process to get to the finals, and then a finals with only 5 people and only 2 days of competition. So the scores matter more, and one little flub up matters way more than it normally would if we were there for a whole week. So like there's so many factors at play that I am dying to know who you think is going to make it past this initial online phase and into the top 5.
Oh, it's so difficult. It is so hard. So I went so I started looking at it today to try to figure it out. I'm gonna give a couple of disclosures here. First of all, every team I root for loses. I have a horrible track record of picking any kind of winner. I root for Cleveland sports teams, the Browns. I've been an Ole Miss fan for years. Like I'm horrible at picking winners. So I'm like snake bit. Like the only win in my entire life came when LeBron took the Cavaliers and beat Golden State. That's like literally the only win I have in my entire adult life. So let's start with the girls. Start with the women.
Start with the women. Okay.
I think it's harder to pick 5 out of than the men, to be honest. So the men was pretty difficult. Like the women are deep,
I agree.
So
I agree
deep.
that women are harder. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also say like even on both sides of the ball here, the men and the women, even with the top 5, like to your point, you could have one flub up and you're no longer in the top 5, even though you could go to, if you made the top 5, you could win the whole thing.
Correct.
Follow me? Meaning like whoever finishes 20th in this, if they got to the last day of competition, could still win. Like they're all that talented. So it's,
Correct.
I get that it's a
I
game.
See what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just hard to pick. So, got to go with Tia. Just, I just cannot, I can't bet against her. And, love her to death. Like I went back, the other thing I did is I went back and looked at the Open, previous games finishes, the competitions that happened this year, Rogue Fitness, Waza, just look for things that people competed in to see how they did. And then because I'm a banker, I did some math. Like I looked like to that point of like one flub up, I looked to see like how consistent they were. So like some people will have an event win and then not so good in 3 or 4. So I was looking for more consistency, particularly in a like kind of a short competition in a smaller field. If you're finishing high, it isn't just one win that's going to get you. You got to kind of consistently be at the top. It's different in the Open when you have, competing against 1,000 people or however many people are at that elite level.
Yep.
And Tia's wildly consistent,
Yeah.
Second was Sarah Sigmundsdottir.
Okay. Solid second choice. Solid.
These are not in order, by the way. This
right.
just happens to be how I have them written down. But like you look at Tia and Sarah, like Sarah's been crazy consistent this year, both at, everything she's competed in and the Open, like she's just having a bang up year,
She is. And she's a solid online competitor. Like her performance in the Open this past year, a lot of the online qualifiers to get to sanctionals, she dominated in, and she's healthy. She had a number of back-to-back seasons where she had some injuries that she was dealing with. And of course that affects the mental game too. But I mean, she a healthy Sarah and an online qualifier to get to that top 5. That's scary.
Yep. Well, she won the Open. So she had a 6th, a 5th, a 2nd, and a 4th place finish at 4 out of the 5 watts. And in the 4th one, she was 23rd. Like you don't get much more consistent than that. And then, great competition over at Wadapalooza, so to the point, like, I think that online piece is going to weigh big with how this one's going to go. I'm hopeful that her and T are both there because I want to see them competing when there's just 5 of them. Like that would be a lot of fun.
I agree.
Third on my list is Amanda Barnhart.
Really?
Yes, I love Amanda.
Okay. Tell me more.
And again, I guess I'm gonna give another disclaimer here. We don't know what the workouts are going to be, and there's certainly some workouts that lend toward Amanda's strength. It's well known she's very strong.
Very strong.
So I'm hopeful there's going to be some lifting in this. Like you have any kind of heavy lifting with 30 people, Amanda's in the top 2 anytime. Like she's just so strong. And so I think that, but I don't want to, underestimate the other things she does well. Like if you look at the Open, she finished 9th in the Open. and she had an 8th, a 10th, a 13th, and she had 2 that weren't as good as the others. They were both at the end of the open. So, kind of my rationale was she, came in heavy at the beginning when she was still fresh. This is a 2-day competition, so you'd think she'd stay pretty fresh. She's a fierce competitor, and her husband's bald like me, so I'm probably partial.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay. And he wears jorts, which makes him very cool.
That is actually very cool.
Katrin Davis' daughter is on my list.
She is.
I had her. She was the one I was hovering between her and somebody else actually, but I had to put. I'll get to that. Jeez, slow down, girl.
Sorry.
But I was like, she was actually last on my list. These weren't in order, but she was the last one I came to. I was hovering with somebody else with her. I struggle to bet against her. Like, it's another one, like, she just got a proven track record of success.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I had one that I pulled out, it might have been her. Annie said her name today when we were talking to Annie. So maybe that was just stuck in my mind, but
okay.
I just couldn't bet against her. And the one I think I'm picking that everyone's going to tell me I'm crazy for, but I'm convinced is going to be there is Carrie Pierce.
Okay. I'm here for that.
I love me some Carrie Pierce.
I do too. And she's been the top friggin' US competitor for years now.
Yeah. I think she, I hate to say she's underrated because I don't think she is. Don't think she necessarily she doesn't get the same kind of press. Press is even the wrong word, but you start, looking at the Sarahs and the Tias, and even the Amandas, because Amanda lifts heavy, Carrie's a smaller athlete, so she's not, she's lifting crazy heavy weight, by the way, but it's just not the same. It doesn't look the same. She's an amazing gymnast. And when you look at her open performance, she's spectacular. And she doesn't know how to lose. Like, how many times has she been, she's gone to the games every single year she's competed.
Right. And keep in mind that the first time she ever went to regionals, she had only been doing CrossFit for 7 months or 9 months or something like that. Something stupid like that. I remember every interview I did was I wrapped it with how long have you been doing this again? Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah. And most of these athletes, she was, a competitive gymnast in college.
Yes.
So she's got a lot of competition under her belt. There's just something about her on game day that's just different. I think back to the games last year. What was the WOD? Was it Mary? Is that right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And she just destroyed the field.
Crushed.
There's something about her. I say 3, 2, 1, go, and she just snaps. She just becomes a different person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm convinced she'll be there. So
I like this list. The only outlier that I would throw into the top 5 that you didn't have is our girl Haley Adams.
I had her on my list, and I hesitated, and I had 2 other people on my list. I had Haley Adams and Emma Mcquaid.
Emma's a really good flyer. She is.
Those were my other 2. And I'm not betting against Haley, so to please, no one in Haley.
The hate mail. Yeah, the hate mail begins.
And Haley, if you listen to this, I still love you, girl. Haley herself said to us, online competing isn't her favorite thing. If this were a, live competition, Haley would have been way up on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking back on some of her online stuff, I think she's right. It's not her strength, but I would absolutely not be surprised to see her come in and blow this thing out and be right in there. So
totally.
Yeah. Big love for her. And,
okay.
And the Cracker Barrel that she loves so much.
And the Cracker. Oh, but I will have you know that, my best friend Whitney was listening to the show the other day and was like, girl, you just haven't looked hard enough, and Googled it. And there is one 20 minutes from here. And she said that we're going to go for brunch, but she also told me that they don't have booze.
Of course not. It's Cracker Barrel. Why would they have alcohol?
Why would I go there?
Biscuits.
Ever?
What do you mean why? Biscuits. We can go get mimosas somewhere else with biscuits. You're going for the biscuits.
Can I bring a mimosa? Can I bring a flask to Cracker Barrel?
They're not going to.
That's my question.
They're not going to.
They won't.
Yes.
They'll never know.
We'll sneak it in.
Okay. I'll let you know when I go. Yeah. I'm very excited.
Okay. Good stuff.
All right. Talk to me about the boys.
The boys. Again, this is in no particular order. Our boy Pat Vellner.
Okay.
Got to be there.
Agreed.
He's had such a killer year from end to end. He's won Rogue Fitness. He won Wadapalooza. He won the Open. Like, how can you bet against somebody that's gone 3 for 3 basically?
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
I'm not
fittest in Canada, but
I know, right? I'll let you tell him. And he's won every puzzle competition he's been in. So
every single one.
Every single
He's
one.
actually not allowed to do puzzles anymore because of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So, gotta have Vellner. I'm gonna get hate mail for this list. Noah Olsen.
I agree.
I had
100%.
Had him on my list for a number of reasons. Noah also has had a great year competing. He's done, really well in, obviously second last year at the games. But I was looking at his, just his open performance as an example was really great. I know it wasn't all what he wanted it to be, but you can go in and find kind of the hot spots for me. Here, I'm trying to pull him. So he's sixth, which, when I say it isn't what he wanted, he wants to win. But
right.
He was crazy consistent, 22nd, 25th, 25th. He had a 7th and a 48th. And you think you're basically top 30, and then a top 10 4 times out of 5 against the best in the world.
Pretty good.
That's
pretty
hard
good.
to beat. And, we watch him train. We see what he does. I think it's a good year for him. I don't think he's lost any step at all from last year.
No, I think if you look at his performance last year, you'd be crazy not to have him in your top 5. You know, he actually took a run at that first place spot. When's the last time we saw someone other than Matt Fraser in that white leader's jersey? It was telling. And I think that's a smart choice.
Yep. BK.
Very smart. Your top 5 is a smart list on the guy's side.
It's going to end soon. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is as smart as I got. But also BK's had a great year. Great open. He had a 2nd, a 12th, an 18th, a 3rd. He had 162nd. But, 4 out of 5 of the open wads were killer,
When you talk about consistency, he's a consistent podium athlete and weirdly kind of like Carrie, maybe doesn't get as much hype, maybe doesn't get as much press is the wrong word, but when we're talking about our picks for the podium or our picks for our winners, whatever, he's consistently on the podium in the 2nd or 3rd place spot all over the world and over. So that's a good, he's the Carrie, but the guy Carrie.
Here's where the hate mail comes in.
Okay. Jeffrey
Adler.
I don't think that's crazy. I think he's an epic dark horse pick.
Good. I don't view him as dark horse. You look at his open performance, he's a great online competitor. What I don't have for him is I didn't have much to go on for live competition. So I'm just looking at his most recent online, but he had a 6th, a 6th, and a 1st this year in the open. And the other 2 were 44th and 43rd.
Yeah. He did well. He did well in Dubai. Not as well as he would have wanted to, obviously, but he's a decent competitor. But you're right, and especially in the online respect, what we've seen of him in the last couple competitive seasons has been really impressive.
And he's a little bit younger, just a little.
Yes.
He's 26. So he's kind of at that ideal age of hitting his stride, So I don't necessarily view him as dark horse. Now I realize there are plenty, and again, there are plenty of other people that could come in here and blow him out, but I think he's in.
Okay. And your last pick is?
Saxon Panchak.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm not laughing at Saxon.
You did. You just laughed at him. I'm going to tell him you laughed at him.
I'm not laughing at Saxon. I'm laughing at the really weird and obvious choice to not include Matt Fraser in your top 5.
But we're not talking about. We'll get to Matt. Let's talk about Saxon. Give him his due. So
okay.
I know people are going to go, "Oh, that's John's coach," and yes, he does program my assault bike wads. So that went into the decision-making process. I will not deny that he could punish me for not doing it. But I will tell you, if you look at his, this year he had 2 top 5 finishes at the Rogue Invitational, which was an online event, and he finished 5th at Wadapalooza against the best competitors on the planet. Now, I realized that Fraser was not in those competitions, but Vellner was there. Olsen was there.
That's true.
He beat Jacob Hebner. He beat some of the world's best in these competitions. So, and, for the argument of, well, he didn't do as well in the open, I had the benefit of being in his gym during the open. he wasn't trying to qualify in the Open.
Right.
So like I saw those wads go down. I know what he's capable of, have seen what he's capable of. He wasn't doing those wads 2 and 3 times to qualify. He knew he was going to qualify in a sanctional. That's where his focus was. And I do have the fortunate aspect of getting to see him train day in and day out. He looks good. Like he looks really good right now. Now right. I understand everybody's going to go, how the hell can you leave Vellner out or leave
Fraser out?
Leave Fraser out. Yeah. And I get it. Like everybody's picking Fraser, and it's the easy thing to say and I hate to leave him out. It's a 2-day online competition. I haven't seen him do anything since the Open. Haven't seen him compete at all. That's not to say he can't come out and finish first, and he very likely could. He's been the proven best for years.
Yeah.
But I do think all of these athletes have a chance to be top 5. And the difference between first and 5th and 6th could very likely be 1 point, 2 points.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not predicting Fraser to finish last. I'm just saying there are 5 athletes out there I think can all beat him and push him down far enough to not qualify.
Interesting. I guess that thought did not really cross my mind. Like when I was like thinking about it, I'm like, okay, well, 1 spot's math. So who are the other 4? But then you look at some events that we had last year, like the sprint event, and granted that's like single modality and it's just like, we're testing one thing. And he's not a sprinter, but he does other things well. But yeah, you're right. Like if we've seen anything over the last couple competitions, be it games or sanctionals or whatnot, it's that we can see a shakeup in the leaderboard and things can go in an unexpected way. So I respect your top 5, John.
Oh, thank you.
I respect your decisions. In my mind, there's 2 or 3 athletes, if you count Matt, that I'm kind of like, what about,
Yeah, what about Chandler? What about Hepner?
What about Chandler? What about Hepner? What about Fikowski? Like, it's just so hard. The reason that I'm interviewing John about his top 5 is because I don't have the chutzpah to make one of my own. Because I keep trying to make these lists and then being like, what about Chandler?
Yeah.
Shit. Well, what about
he could totally be there. So none of this, like, and I want to be really clear on that. Like, none of this is rooting against or hate or dislike for any of the athletes. Chandler could win the whole thing, for God's sakes. Like, he is as fit as, like, the dude's crazy fit, Now if it's a calf race competition, he's screwed, but otherwise
if it's an asking girls to prom competition, he's screwed. He never should have told us that story.
I know. I love Chandler. I'd love to see him go. I kind of feel the same way about Hepner. Like,
yep,
he's so strong and fast and just a terrific dude. Like, he could win the whole thing. Like, there's so many. It's a hard list, man. It is. It's tough. It's hard. Like, I think this is one of the hardest sports to handicap and to figure out, because there's so many factors and we don't even know what the workouts are.
Right. And also, like, we don't even know what 2020 is bringing. Oh, you know who else I would throw into the top 5 if I could have 1 million people in my top 5?
Who's that?
Is James Newbury.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's another one where I'm like, oh, well, wait, shit, what about and then the women, like, what about Cara? I watched her push press like 230 or 250 pounds or whatever the other day.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, well, look, just on the men's side, like, I'm just kind of eyeballing the list now. A couple other wild cards. Brandon Luckett, terrific. Jay Crouch is a little young, but I think you'll see him in a couple of years. Justin, I can't pronounce his last name. Medeiros, is that right? Did I get that right?
Medeiros, yeah.
He's 21 years old.
Babies.
But looks amazing. Fikowski, you can't put anything past that guy. I mean, he's as smart as the day is long. Koski.
There's so many. Oh, yeah.
Tim Paulson, Cole Sager.
Oh my God, Cole! He's like the king of comebacks. He can do anything.
Yeah, so I mean, Cole finished second. He really he tied for first at Wadapalooza. So any of these guys could make the top 5, and same on the women's side. Like, you can I'm on the list. I didn't have Danny Spiegel in the list.
She's my flyer for sure.
And I love Danny. I just assumed people are going to be offering her foot pick money and she would take it and not compete. That was what I was thinking.
And not compete, right? Yeah.
Jamie Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. Duh. Kristen Holta, amazing.
Yep.
Like Laura Horvath, amazing. Christy Aramo, amazing.
How do you pick?
Kendall Vincelette, amazing. Danielle Brandon, amazing. Bethany Shadburn.
Bethany Shadburn.
Yeah, Brooke Wells. Like, I mean, come on. Like, So, the top five's bullshit. I mean, if we're being honest, like I could pick any of these five and you're going to get a couple in, like,
and they'd be the fittest women on the planet.
Yeah. And,
of
it's the same on the men. Like I almost hate doing a top five because I love all 60 of them. Like they're all amazing,
right.
so, it kind of is what it is, but I'm hopeful. I think whoever we get, it will be a super fun competition from end to end.
For sure. Yeah. I can't wait to see how it all shakes out. Thanks for putting your list together for me.
I'm going to get so much hate mail.
I know.
They're going to yell at me about the Saxon pick. I actually asked one of my other coaches, I'm like, am I allowed to leave Saxon out? And they're like, no.
No. I'm like, oh, okay. Just kidding. I must reformulate this list. Who do I bounce? Get that Matt guy out of here.
Yeah. No, I legit, like, to be honest, because I thought the same thing yesterday. I'm like, does Saxon belong on this list? Like I'm not going to put him in until I could verify it. But he had 2 top 5 finishes at major competitions. It wasn't like,
no, that's fair. It
wasn't like, no offense to the MAC, but the MAC isn't Rogue Invitational and Wadapalooza where you literally have podium winners at that thing.
The roster was not nearly as deep. Yeah,
it was both of those rosters were deep, and so your top 5 there could be top 5 for these 30. It's not it's not unthinkable. So
no, it's definitely not.
It was
anything could happen.
Ninth at the games last year. So
yeah, that's epic.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens.
I'm exhausted now.
I know. That was a lot of brain power. Do you want to talk about something else? You want to talk with Logan? Should we bring Logan in?
Yes, let's bring Logan on.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to send her the link. You might want to cut this or maybe just leave it. This is us waiting for Logan to come on the show.
All right. Is she anticipating your call?
Yeah, she knows. I just sent her the link.
Okay. Well, I won't even pause it. I'll edit out this boring stuff, and the Patreons will get the benefit of just listening to us ramble because I won't edit it out for Patreon. Sorry, guys.
I do love the Patreon people. You guys make the world go round.
Oh, wait, here she comes.
Oh, that was fast.
Whoa. She's got like the fancy photo, the glamour shots.
I know. I need that.
What's up?
Don't be too disappointed because that picture had really good lighting and
yeah, but now it's jacked and tan season.
It is. Except we have no more sun because everything's covered in fires.
Oh yeah, it's like orange fiery sky season for Logan.
It's like apocalypse season.
Wow. Jesus. I know. Who had the state burning for October? Anyone? September?
Anyone? Just Logan? Oh, you? Oh, yes. Okay, cool.
I'll take those points, Alex.
Oh.
Hi, Logie.
Hi, guys.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you introduce Logan since a lot of people don't know her?
Okay, right. And also because we've been recording this whole time and probably have cut out a whole bunch of boring waiting around for me to send you the Zoom link up to this point. So Logan Vanderpool is with us and she's my other bestie. So John and her are both that. You guys don't have to have bestie wars.
We have in the past, but now we've decided that when we're together and you're not there, we can be besties.
That's a totally good plan. I totally am here for that.
Me and Steph Chung have made the same partnership.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I have all the besties. It's great. I'm just one of the girls. We should have a sleepover. It'd be great.
Oh we should and braid each other's hair.
Yes, pajama party. Great.
But no, so in addition to being just an amazing all-around human and epic CrossFit Games MC and content extraordinaire, Logan is a registered dietitian and has been helping people understand and get started with the Renew You Challenge that Wadapalooza and company are kind of bringing to the forefront, and it's about to kick off. So we've seen a lot of that Renew You Challenge posts online, and it's there's a lot to this. So instead of just telling people to like go sign up and better yourself and just like do the thing, we figured it'd be a lot better to have Logan on to help explain what this challenge is coming up and how everyone can get involved if they want to.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It starts on Monday, September 14th, and it is an 8-week health and fitness renewal revamp challenge. We're calling it a transformation challenge because we do want to see how you progress and how you transform over 8 weeks, but it is not a weight loss challenge, although weight loss might happen and that might be part of your transformation. But it's really cool because you get to pick the structure of the challenge or the things that you want to do daily to execute the challenge. So the whole purpose of it is to be consistent with the practices and behaviors that align with your health and fitness goals, being consistent with them daily. So the person who wins the challenge will have some type of transformation mentally, physically, fitness-wise, but they will also have shown that they're consistent executing their action steps.
See, I like this because sometimes like weight loss challenges feel kind of icky. Do you know what I mean? Like they just feel
yeah.
Yeah, and like I have plenty to transform that I need to do better as far as consistency and health and wellness in my life. And like, I don't have as much weight to lose as someone who maybe is just getting physically active for the very first time in their lives. So my transformation is very different. And I just really like the fact that this is focusing on all aspects of your health and wellness and not just pound for pound. Like I could make a really great change just by journaling every day, and my mental health is through the roof all of a sudden. And that's
Completely.
my thing. That's important to me. What are some of the different like things that you can set as your own goals?
So we have 4 main categories. There's nutrition, fitness, sleep, and mobility.
Oh, John!
No, I do plenty of sleep. I'm good. Thanks.
Or do we need to work on your sleep, John?
No, my sleep's good.
Work on his mobility.
The mobs?
I'm less flexible than my dad watching Fox News, if that tells you anything.
Okay, that's a good analogy. I'm understanding now.
Yes.
So there's resources to help with these things. Is that right?
Yes, we've got Ramwad giving us all the mobility tools. There might be other people involved in that too. I'm not quite sure, but Ramwad's for sure involved. And then on the fitness side, we've got NC Fit and Misfit Athletics that essentially are providing 3 different programming options. But like I said, it's choose your own adventure. So if you already have programming that you're following, you can continue to follow that as long as you're consistent with your fitness regimen. But it's $20 to register and you get access to all this programming. So it's like a nice little sample platter of different styles of programming. And if you don't have something to follow right now, then it's a perfect opportunity to have something structured.
And what about nutrition? How do you like decide what your goals are and what are the resources there?
That's a good question. I'm not super sure on how to define like whatever you're following, but participants do have access to a bunch of tools and resources from RP. Oh, cool. RP is our main sponsor. So RP works on templates and essentially like macro counting to dial in food quantities, which is super helpful for body composition changes as well as athletic performance.
Yeah, RP's great. I've done RP.
RP's awesome. So have I.
Yeah, they'll help you. I mean, for anyone that hasn't done RP, you actually get to eat food. and to your point, like change your body composition so you're not starving yourself to lose weight. Like they figure out how much you're working out and what the proper macronutrient should be. It's really cool. It's good stuff.
You can have so much cauli rice. You know what the macros are in cauli rice? Like nothing. You can have, when I was on RP, I added cauli rice to fucking everything. Matt was like, if I have to see cauli rice one more time on the house menu, like I'm leaving.
Yeah,
no, it's great. It's in your eggs. It's in your stew. It's in your this. It's in your that.
It's topping your salad. Hey, Matt, I made cauliflower rice ice cream.
Do you love it?
Oh, they use that. That's what they're using to put out the fires in California right now. That's how bad cauli rice is. Like, there's no reason to eat that. No
it's
reason.
so good. It only tastes like whatever you put on it or with it.
Anytime you have to start with, it tastes like, it's not good. It's not good. It should taste like what it is, not
I
what
love it. You're
else.
gonna get hate mail for this because people like me love cauli rice.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen the meme, speaking of Mr. Memes, something along the lines of like cauliflower has had the biggest glow up in the last 5 years. Like it went from like bottom of the barrel vegetable to like pizza crust.
Right.
And like it's everything you could ever want.
I've seen the one that's like cauliflower has replaced all of your carbs and all of your friends, and your life is only cauliflower now. And I'm like, yeah, it me.
I'm relating.
Triggered. Hashtag triggered.
Nope. I'm gonna stick with real rice, real live rice.
Real live, honest to goodness rice.
Honest to goodness rice. If it's good for half the planet, it's good for me.
It's fair. That's totally
valid point.
Yeah.
Valid point.
So, how do people get going and get signed up and all that?
Great question, Niki. The Renew You Challenge. It's not the Renew You Challenge. It's renewyouchallenge.com.
Okay, cool. And is it expensive?
It's so cheap.
Oh, nice.
It is the price of like less than 4 fancy Starbucks pumpkin spice whatevers.
I am feeling so attacked in this conversation.
It also doesn't feel cheap all of a sudden, knowing what a pumpkin spice latte is.
But for real, like a Starbucks drink is like, let's say $17.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Oh, order me what you're getting.
I will get you one.
Fat-free, calorie-free, keto, paleo, right?
Yes,
organic,
and covered in pumpkin syrup, so 1,000 calories.
No, it's $20 to register. And I'm not sure when this is coming out, but there was a Labor Day sale.
Oh, nice.
That was 3 days. Today, yeah, so that's probably over. Sorry, bad at counting. But I also have a $5 discount code Logan V. So it's $15.
Actually, that $15 just to get access to like RP and Misfit programming and mobility stuff. And NC-Fit, like all that stuff. That's pretty sweet. That's a cool deal.
And don't forget the community aspect, because there's total social connection. We have a Facebook group. We have ways of sharing your progress and sharing your like processing of the whole challenge on social media. We have accountability buddies that you can choose to help you stay accountable. And it's really all about choosing your own adventure. Doesn't matter how fit you are, doesn't matter how much equipment you have access to. It's like, okay, I am going to daily do something with my fitness, concentrate on my nutrition. I'm going to put some effort into getting enough sleep, and I'm going to work on my mobility to help me recover.
It's cool. I like the fact that this is 8 weeks long, because that's long enough to actually really see a change. That's long enough to be like, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and be completely different, and we're not setting unrealistic expectations. If you want to change, here's some tools to help you over the course of the long term develop habits and really start to see a difference. I mean, John, how long were you doing paying attention to your, not necessarily your macros, but doing like MyFitnessPal and stuff before you were like, oh, I got this. This is a habit now?
Probably a solid 90 to 120 days, probably, before like I really had it down, and I still use it.
Yeah. So we're getting the ball rolling. Good. For sure on creating new habits. And I've had a few questions. People are like, well, I'm following whatever nutrition protocol. Can I still do the challenge? Like, yeah, of course you can do the challenge. Like, as long as you are committing and doing something that you have structured around your nutrition, and you're logging in and you're getting to check off on your dashboard that you've accomplished your nutrition task, then you're participating in the challenge. Like, I'm not telling you that you have to have cauliflower rice with every meal to be able to win this thing. But if you don't know what to do with your nutrition, and if you don't know what to do with your workouts, then we're giving you tools that you can follow.
Cool.
Well, I will not be signing up for an accountability buddy. If I wanted to be nagged, I'd spend more time with Niki. So,
yeah, I'll be your buddy for free outside of the challenge.
Yeah.
Hey, and I do have to mention there's prizes.
Oh,
I'm in. Okay, what are the prizes?
Okay, now we're listening. All right.
Should have led with this.
Shoot. The overall revamp and concentrating on your health and fitness wasn't enough, John?
Never. Never. Do you even know me? Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So our grand prize, one goes to our top male winner, and the top female finisher will both win $5,000.
Oh. Woohoo.
And then we will have 2 People's Choice winners that I'm guessing will be voted on in some type of open forum. And those 2 winners will get an all expenses paid trip to Wadapalooza next year.
Wow. So if one of these people choice winners, let's just say, happen to have a large online platform of followers and could get them to vote for him, could he still win?
Could he maybe go to Waza next year?
We will have to read the fine print, but I'm going to say, as of right now, you're eligible.
Solid maybe.
Solid maybe. All right.
And
You're
then
saying
also,
I've got a chance.
Yeah.
Exactly. All of the partners are going to be providing challenge participants with all kinds of discount codes and freebies and other sample charcuterie items.
I love cheese.
I mean, there might not be actual cheese.
No, too late. You said charcuterie, so there's going to be cheese. Cheese and meats.
I was trying to say like a sampler
pack. I appreciate that you're like, no, but really your listeners need to know there's no cheese.
Yeah, but really,
we're not sending you cheese in the mail.
I wish.
Damn it.
That's all I want. Oh, Logan, thanks for explaining. This would be really cool. So one last time, sign up by Monday the 14th. It's 8 weeks long. Do your thing, win some money, go to Waza and use code LoganV for a discount. And yeah, spend $15 and do something for yourself for 8 weeks and see if you can improve your overall health and wellness.
Yeah, set a new tone for this new reality that we're living in that feels like I'm in a washing machine.
Yeah, kick 2020 in the dick.
Please.
Why does it have to be a dick, Niki? Jesus, man.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to really kick in the vag.
That's called a.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's called a clam slam. You've never heard that before. You've never heard that before?
You should end the show right there.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of terms for it. Yeah. I thought you'd heard that. You could
I've never seen that on a mug before.
Yeah,
I always see like kick today in the dick. I've never seen like clam slam. Fran.
You can also say dismay in the vajayjay. That works too. There's so many good ones. Say coochie carnage. That's a good one too. There's so many.
Oh my God.
These are gonna make the outtakes. This is all the outtakes of me with just horrible sayings. This is the stuff that actually doesn't go on my page. Like, this is what I edit.
Have you ever side note, have you ever Urban Dictionary'd like synonyms for vagina? Because if you haven't, you should. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
I will look that
I know
up.
what I'm doing tonight.
I know what I'm doing later.
All right. Well, with that, make sure you go sign up for this challenge. Use Logan V to save $15 or Clam Slam and save nothing. It's up to you. It's up to you. Other than that, we appreciate you guys keep a
lookout for the new merch that's coming out.
Oh my God. We got merch. Make pods great again. Clam Slam.
Clam Slam.
I'm dead.
I know. Oh, I'm going to hell. All right. Well, ladies, thank you.
Hey, Okay, John, thank you.
It's been a joy.
Oh, you guys just made my day.
For everyone listening, if you made it to the end of the show, just DM me. Just DM me the words clam slam so I know you made it. With that, we will talk to you guys later.